that's everything. You guys are all caught up. Let's go ahead and get our supplies together. If you would like to listen to the same song I'm listening to, it's Bloom by the Paper Kites. That being said, let's paint.
All right, here we go. We're painting in oils. I'm starting off with that dark brown. I've got a reference picture on my computer to the side, and I'm not using the colors. It's just always good to have something to look at for shadow reference, I think, and trying to figure out where rabbits would normally have patterns in their fur. So I'm just laying down my dark color first, kind of in blocks, using more of a stippling motion. I find that when you try to brush the paint too much onto the canvas, you really can wipe it right back up and it'll come up with your bristles. So more so, I started trying to focus on pushing the paint into the canvas, and that's giving me more of the effect that I want. Lots of patience here, just taking everything one step at a time. Starting on the feet down there, you can see I've switched to a lighter color, still using that same kind of stippling pushing motion. I am using a round brush. I think that's about a size 6. It's a pretty medium size. I haven't moved on to like a small one, but it's not super large either. More light colors, so rather than going in with too many of my medium colors, I started to discover why I think people like oil paints, because I was able to go in with the dark color and then go in with the light colors, and where they overlap in areas, you can mix them actually on the painting because they haven't dried like acrylics would. So that's where you get a little bit of that mixing just by pushing them together. Again, I don't swipe them because that's where you start to overmix and actually lift paint up off the canvas. If you push it into the canvas and push them together, you get that nice soft blending effect, which I'm really digging. Moving on up to those ears. And with all this color blocking going on, I'm trying to get down the first layer. I think we're going to end up with a second layer on a different day, but I want the painting to largely look how it'll look in the end, maybe just not quite as polished. And you can see I've grabbed another paintbrush from the side. What I'm doing there is using that to anchor my hand and steady it while I'm trying to paint in details over the center of the canvas. That's hopefully helping me not smudge it, because there's still a place by his shoulder where I know I rested my hand and I smudged the canvas, but that's okay. It's something that can be painted over. This is not life and death. We're all good here. We're having fun with some art and practicing and growing. Working on those ears using the same concept that I used below. I put in that dark pink, a little bit darker than what I wanted, because I knew I was going to come in with a really light color and I wanted to blend them together and make it softer. Same thing here in the eyes. I put a dark brown there, and then there's a light brown to add a little bit of a highlight. I think in the final piece we'll add a little bit of yellow to his eyes, and then they'll look more amber and kind of glowing. I did decide to go into the background. I wasn't happy with the way it looked, especially around the cards. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the effect I wanted. It didn't feel dynamic or deep enough. So here I've been tapping in, again, same thing. You can really see the brush strokes here where I'm just tapping. I'm using the same type of round brush. This one is a little bit bigger because I'm covering a larger surface area. And I'm just going back and forth with that alizarin crimson, and from that crimson with some white and some gray, I mixed the lighter shades that I'm also tapping up into there. Not over blending, but allowing them to come into each other. Here on the cards, you can see I'm going in, and this isn't titanium white either. I actually mixed titanium white with the titanium buff just to not have quite that stark white. Again, you don't want to go bright white until you're ready to put in your finishing details, because that's the lightest that you're gonna get. So don't jump the gun, don't do it too soon. Maybe mix your white with some gray or just a separate color and try that shade first, so that you can still add highlights on something that would be perceived as the eye as a white item. Same technique up here doing the hat. I started off with a very dark gray purple mixed with some blues and some reds, and then I came in just with a very bright gray to help define the shape of the hat. And you can see how I'm just blending it into each other. Tapping in dark in the areas that need more dark, tapping in the light. Then we're going to add some purple to his hat and his scarf. Nice and soft. This is a slightly smaller round brush, so I've been working all in round brushes for this entire piece. Everybody has their preference. You can use a flat brush too if you like those better. But I'm tapping. I'm just tapping the colors in and letting them naturally blend on each other, not using too much pressure. These are all the same consistency. I haven't thinned my paints at all since I initially mixed them on the palette, which was just paint straight from the tube and a little bit of Galkid, which is an additive to help them dry. Coming back to the cards, and we are just tapping in the colors for the carrots. This is the last little bit that I'm gonna do on my rabbit today. Went in with my dark orange and then added a little bit of the light orange. And there we go with kind of that medium color. So I find the light and the dark aren't mixing with enough saturation. That's where I'll come in with the medium color and kind of bring it back a little bit. But that's also what I plan to do with the second layer. We're gonna go over everything next time. And that's where I'll make the darkers darker, and I'll make all my lighter colors even lighter, and maybe add in a little more saturation with some of my medium tones. But this lays the foundation. I'm really happy with how everything's looking. I think he's a lot more impressive than he was. Learning oils is definitely a curve. It's so difficult. It's not a medium I've worked on before, but I say that not to discourage you. They're also so fun to play with. They're worth it. Give it a shot. Get out of your comfort zone. I believe in you guys. And with that, I will see you next time. Stay creative. Bye.